everyone. Welcome to Rika's podcast. This is a podcast where I talk about whatever that pops into my head in English and Japanese. Bilingual mode. So grab yourself a cup of coffee, tea, Jack Daniels, gasoline, your husband or wife's tears, whatever you want, whatever you're in the mood for, and kick back, put your feet up, and enjoy the ride. 皆さん、こんにちは。リカーズポッドキャストへようこそ。この番組では、私、リカが日々の思いなどを思いつくままにバイリンガルモードで台本なしでお送りしています。好きな飲み物を召し上がりながらぜひ聞いてください。Here we go!
Hi everyone, this is a special edition today. I have with me today is Evan.
Hello! Hello all! こんにちは皆さん。
今日は何月何日でしょう？
Today is September 18th?
I believe. I think so.
18日でしょ
18日日曜日なんですが、今日はね、台風の真っ最中でEvan came here to evacuate.
Indeed, yes. Did I have to evacuate? Maybe
We
not.
We still don't know.
But just in case.
Yeah, because they have been scaring us that this is gonna be unprecedented typhoon, and yeah, it's better safe than sorry, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, on the news they do make it sound like, you know, your family will die, you know, but
そうね、結構大げさかなとも思っちゃうけど、かなり最大級らしいので、yeah, just taking precautions. まあね、注意しようということで、and it's more fun evacuating with your friends.
I'm sure by yourself it's very sad.
ね、そうね、だから今日でも今が日曜日の2時半ですね。午後2時半で、多分 it's not here yet でしょ？多分 it's gonna be the closest this evening. That's what they've been telling us on TV. So
I mean, so far it has been just like a strong storm in the area now.
そうね、たまにね。
Nothing crazy,
Not
but,
just yet,
but
yeah.
still stronger than your average storm.
そうそうそう。だからまあ念のためということで来てて、yeah, just chilling.
Yeah.
Being kind of stuck in the apartment, but it's all good for now.
Yeah. I mean, it does kind of freak you out a little bit when they say, what was it, like, 特別警報?
そう、特別警報とか。
Special alarm, special warning.
そうそうそう。
And I'm like, why is it special? What does that mean? What does that mean?
ね、いろいろなんか線状降水帯とか、the torrential rain, the flood warnings, and all this kind of the alarm when it goes off, it kind of scares us too. So.
Oh yeah,
ね。
It's like I hope you're not like going to the bathroom or something when the alarm goes off.
And what we are concerned the most is about the power. So ね、停電がなければいいけど、まあ今のところは大丈夫かなっていう感じで、まあね、せっかくエヴァンが避難してきてるので、ポッドキャスト撮ろうかって今言ってたんですけど、So Evan has just recently been back from home, Florida. フロリダに2週間ぐらい行ってたんだ。ね、里帰り。里帰りしてて、最近帰ってきた。So after 3 years of absence だっけ、2年半ぐらいぶりに日本に来てからずっと帰ってなかったからね、やっと帰れたんだよね。
そう、コロナのせいでしょ？
そう、全部コロナのせいだよ。そうそうそう。だから、So, how was it?
It was great. I mean, the flight was not great, but being there was great. You know, I don't know if other people have the experience of going back to where they're from after a long time, but for me, it was both, like it felt like it's been a very long time, but it also felt like it was just yesterday that I was there. So it was this weird combination of, wow, it just feels like forever ago, and oh yeah, like, I remember this, no big deal.
Right.
Very strange feeling. And
そうね、フロリダだよね。Yeah, so you were telling me how long the flight was to get there.
Oh, it was crazy.
すごい長時間のフライト。一日ぐらいだったっけ？
It takes about that long.
Yeah.
It's mostly because of some of the layovers take a very long time because connections aren't as frequent.
Yeah, layovers って言ったら乗り継ぎの時間ですよね。
Okay, because norika is transfer, right?
Yeah.
But
乗り継ぎ、乗り
Noritsugi,
換
I
え、
like-
乗り換え。
like
Yeah,
next-
for flights we say 乗り継ぎ。
noritsugi.
Yeah, but for
Ichikan.
trains we say 乗り換え。
Norikae.
I wonder why. Yes, but anyways, yeah, so you have to wait at the airport for quite some time.
Yeah. I mean, it's because I had to fly from Miyazaki to Tokyo, Haneda, and then from Tokyo to Los Angeles, and then Los Angeles to Florida. And, you know, the Miyazaki to Tokyo is the shortest flight, of course. It's actually quite nice. But I was nervous from the beginning because on the train to Miyazaki Airport, I got an email from Anna saying, your flight to Tokyo has been canceled. I'm like, oh, I'm on the train already. Amazing. But it was because apparently there was very bad weather in Tokyo. But luckily, I had gotten on the early train.
Yeah, good thing that you left here earlier.
Yeah,
ね、
so
や
at
っ
the
ぱり
airport.
時間に余裕持たないとね、何が起こるかわからないから。
Yeah. So luckily at the airport, the
Yeah.
What would you call it? I guess the clerk at the counter. She just changed me onto an earlier flight actually, and it was no big deal.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that because if you couldn't get on that flight, then I think the whole
Because if you miss one of those connections,
Yeah,
I mean, you
guess
might be
it's gonna
stuck
be-
for a
yeah,
long time.
So I guess that was a good start. I mean, like you were
In a
lucky
way,
enough to
Yeah,
get on the
but
earlier
that
flight.
did mean my layover in Tokyo was longer.
あ、そっかそっか。だよね。
Which so I had a layover in Tokyo for like 5 hours maybe. I mean, I don't mind
Tokyo?
In Tokyo.
Oh, was it in Haneda?
Yes.
Okay, but that's big enough airport, so you can kind of explore.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind a little bit of a layover because
5
it's
hours だと結構長いね。
yeah, because it's important to give yourself time in case anything goes
Yeah,
wrong.
yeah. Better late than sorry. No, better sooner the
Better
better.
late than never. Or-
Better late than never.
or-
That
that
would be
doesn't
a
apply.
different
That doesn't
kind of-
apply here though.
なんて言えばいい The sooner the better.
It's like, you know,
なんだろう
just in
ない
case time.
Just
Like,
in case time.
you know, like a buffer. You know,
The
like
buffer.
some you know,
Yeah.
wiggle room, like some wiggle room.
Wiggle room. It's nice to have wiggle room.
Yeah, because then if something happens, you don't have to change plans.
But you're generally like that. I mean, like you do things like you're usually on time and for everything, and then you have
I
some
try to
kind
be.
of time to, well, just in case.
Yeah, and
Thank
especially it's tough a little bit too, because at least for me, from Miyazaki to Tokyo, you have to change terminals
そうそう
from
ね。
domestic to
あ、そ
international.
うね。
And for me, that meant you have to get all of your luggage, get on a bus, and drive to the other terminal,
So-
then recheck in your
so-
bags, and then go through security
Yeah,
again.
yeah.
And that
It's
takes
just the whole thing.
maybe
yeah.
that takes 30 minutes, maybe
I
that takes
know.
2 hours.
Because not every airport is like Miyazaki Airport.
No.
We have like 4 gates.
Yeah, and
So
yeah, I blinked and I was done with security in Miyazaki. I'm like, I've never had this happen in my life.
ね、一瞬のうちに終わってしまうからね。でも羽田 is different, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little sad though at Haneda though, at the international terminal. So many of the shops and restaurants were closed.
あ、
Because of-
そっか。
because of
That's a
Corona?
bummer. Yeah,
So
そ
it
っ
was
か。
very quiet.
Not many travelers, so.
Yeah, because especially in Haneda they had this very cool like Edo Jidai tokoro mitai.
あー、あるよね。Souvenir shops とか
And they have
restaurants
there's
と
even
か。
like an old style bridge and
あ、
some
そ
of the
う。
buildings look
I
kind of
haven't been
Edo
there.
style to
Okay.
really give you that Japan feel.
But it was closed as well?
Most of it was.
Okay.
But I waited there, and then the flight from Tokyo to LA took about 10 hours.
10 hours, yeah.
They actually went a little faster, I guess, because we took off a little late. But that was about 10 hours. It's a long one. And but my layover in LA was about 7 hours.
No way.
Oh my goodness.
What did you do? So you stayed at the airport the whole time?
Yeah, and that airport's huge too. And also I had to change terminals again. And I had to walk maybe 1 kilometer outside at the same airport just to get to the right place. And immigration took a very long time. It was Disney level lines.
So there were a lot of people.
It was
at
insane.
LA. Okay.
It was crammed.
It was
people.
It was not like Haneda Airport then.
No.
Haneda pretty much empty, you said, right?
Yeah, it wasn't much. But luckily, I found out that because I flew, at least the American portions, I flew on United Airlines.
Okay.
And we found out that at least with United, you can buy a 1-day pass for their lounges at the airport.
Oh, that's what you did?
And yeah, so I got a 1-day pass courtesy of my mother. I think she's a saint. And it was maybe $50-$60 for 1 day.
What do you get to do at the lounge?
Well, you get to go in, and it's an exclusive huge area. They have unlimited food and drinks.
Wow.
Including alcohol if you want it.
Wow.
And there's a coffee machine, there's
some snacks as well.
There's snacks and also meal-sized food.
Oh, really?
As well.
So it's not so bad when you think about $50, $60
yeah,
a
and
day.
you can get your own kind of nice chair to sit in, and you can charge all your stuff. And it's not those real rigid, sad airport seats. You can
more
a nice kind of leather seat
more
and
space and more comfort.
it's
It's
much more relaxing, and you could even sleep in there if you wanted to.
Is that a recent thing, or has it been there the whole time? Because I never really thought about using the lounge. I thought it was only for the first class people.
Yeah, same. I feel like the lounge has been there, but I don't know about the 1-day thing. I don't know if that's a newer
I would love
service.
to take advantage of that.
Yeah,
next
I guess
time.
if the airport that you're going to has a lounge and it's applicable, you could do it. And I just did it right on the app too. Just bought a 1-day pass on the United app.
簡単だね。
And it makes a QR code, and I just scanned it, and that was it.
Yeah, much better than just kind of trying to kill time at the
Yeah,
airport.
and normally I wouldn't do that, but I mean, it was 7 hours.
Yeah,
so
that's too long.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking 3 hours or whatever, I don't care, I don't need to spend that, but it was worth it just for all the coffee and food I had and just the space and relaxation.
Yeah, because at the airport, if you just want to get a cup of coffee and a sandwich, it would cost what? $20 sometimes.
Oh yeah,
とかに今またなってるからね。それ考えたらならnot too much じゃない？
Yeah.
へえ、そんなのあるんだ。
Yeah, but then after that, I flew from LA to Florida, and I had the red-eye flight.
Red-eye flight っていうのは？
Red-eye is the last flight of the night. It's usually overnight. And
深夜便、夜行便って感じですよね。So it left at what time?
I mean, I think it was maybe 11 p.m.
Okay.
Or something like that.
Red-eye flight.
I think they call it red-eye because...
Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah, because of
you're so tired and your eyes get really red, and it's that image, I guess.
そうだから深夜便とか夜行便って言って多分夜中に立つ便とか It's a little bit cheaper? Or
I don't know if it's necessarily cheaper, but
they just call it red light.
Sometimes maybe they fly a little faster.
そっか
Just because there's maybe not as much flight traffic and they want to get you there.
そうね。だから深夜便とか夜行便っていうのを red eye flight って。Would you say the same thing for buses too? Or red light?
I've never heard of a red-eye bus
ないよね。
before.
Only for the airplanes.
Maybe just overnight bus, I guess.
やっぱり夜行だから目が充血する感じから来てるのかなと思いますけど、面白い表現だなと思いますよね。
Maybe midnight bus.
Midnight bus ね。
Maybe
Not
that's a
really
thing.
a red eye.
But not red-eye. It's specifically
You could
flights.
say that, I guess, but
Yeah.
I think not really
Yeah.
common to say that. Okay.
There's also a red-eye coffee, but that's a different thing.
What is that red eye
I
coffee?
think it's, if I remember right, it's coffee with, I think, 1 shot of espresso in it.
Okay. More caffeine.
Yeah, I think so. Because I think you're so tired, you need that extra boost.
Right. Okay.
I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, you did not hear it from me.
まあいろいろ面白いよね。そっか。で、you got to Florida.
I did in the morning.
In the morning.
Like 6 something in the
そんな遠いの
morning.
か。
Because from LA to Florida, that
Yeah.
flight is about 5 hours.
あ
And
あ。
that's across the country. Which
そうよね。
that flight, I mean, that you could fly past Japan from
Yeah.
Okinawa.
Oh, easily.
You know, so it's a bigger distance for sure.
なんか国をまたぐぐらいの遠さよね。
And plus, the
the
time zone is different too. It's
そうよ
3
ね
hours.
時差があるよね。同じ国の中ですごい時差があるっていうので本当大変だよね。
4つありますね。
4 time zones.
4 time zones.
Wow.
East, like central, mountain,
それだけ大
west.
きいってことだよね。
Or Pacific.
Because I've once heard that the States is 25 times bigger than Japan じゃない多分。
I guess it depends on the state.
Yeah.
You
and
mean
then,
population or
no, the land
size?
size. Yeah.
Ah.
I think it's something like that. And I've also heard that the state of California is actually a little bit bigger than Japan.
Yes,
the whole Japan.
I have heard that too. California is
So-
kind of like roughly the size of Japan.
そうそうそうって考えるとやっぱ25倍ぐらいは、あるよねって思うよね。The biggest state is Alaska.
Alaska's the biggest.
そうね。
It's I mean it's massive,
Yeah,
but I mean
Alaska
it's
and then-
it's separate though, so
Oh, right,
people
okay.
often don't think about that.
Okay.
But
The second biggest would be
probably either
land-wise.
California or Texas.
Texas かな。テキサスかカリフォルニアだよね。
Texas is also
But
pretty
Florida is
huge.
pretty big too.
Florida's
でしょ
pretty big size. It's very long.
そうか
But yeah, so the whole trip, my whole trip probably took I think about 28 hours.
So you were like
Oh,
worn
I
out.
was a zombie.
ゾンビ
I
だよ
was
ね。
like I got to the airport in Tampa, my hometown,
Yeah.
and like my mother was there with my brother and my friend, and they were like, "Oh yeah, it's so nice
They're
to
so
see you,"
excited
and
to see
I'm
you.
just like barely awake, like yay!
もう
Oh.
疲れ果てた感
I'm
じ
like,
だ
I
よね。
want to take a shower. I want to lie down.
Yeah, I know. Wow, it has been a very long flight. So ね。
It was brutal, and the jet lag was also pretty wild.
そうね。
and It was such terrible timing because I had to renew my American driver's license, and I had an appointment to do that the day I came back.
Oh no.
So I
Bad
was
idea.
fresh off the 1 day plus traveling on flights, so insanely tired, and I had to go to the DMV, and I had to take a picture for my license.
Directly from the airport?
Well, not directly, but it was a few
Okay.
hours later.
Wow,
But
on the same day.
I'm like, this picture, I'm going to have this picture for like 8 years. And it's like, I look so
You look like a
tired
zombie.
and dead, and I'm like, wow, this is alright.
But you had to get it done because you had an appointment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but had to do it.
Yeah, I think I've traveled internationally, of course, and I have had those like really bad jet lags as well. So you have to really think about like in advance, like what to do on the first day. The biggest mistake that I made was when I went to New York and then I went to see the Broadway show. And I slept. I slept the whole time.
You couldn't even enjoy it, you
もう
know?
本当にバカなことしたなと思って But I had to buy the ticket in advance チケットを買ってPhantom of the Opera
Oh,
I was
great
so
show.
psyched to see that
仕方がないね。
すっごい楽しみにしてたのにもう本当 perfect condition to fall asleep right? I mean like a dark room great temperature and I was just in this chair and then it's like I just immediately fell asleep I just slipped through the whole show when then stood up and then did a standing ovation で目が覚めたっていうso it was pretty expensive it was more like $100
Yeah, it's an expensive nap.
Oh yeah, for sure. The most expensive nap ever. 一番高い居眠りというか、たっぷり寝て。
おー、残念ね。
ねえ、やっぱ時差ボケは辛いですよね、jet lags。
In my experience, if it's a long distance flight, if you can get to your destination at night, then go to your hotel, house, whatever, and then just go to sleep. Because then the next day you wake up feeling pretty normal.
So,
I think.
Yeah, okay. Arriving at the destination late at night
I think is
would be a
ideal.
good, yeah, good deal.
I mean, if you're flying like 3 hours,
Yeah, it's
who
not
cares?
gonna- yeah.
But yeah, if you do these really, really long journeys, Because if you try to stay awake, it's so hard, and they tell you to try to fight it, to try to adjust your body
adjust the new
to the schedule.
Yeah,
but it's so difficult.
Yeah, it is difficult. It's harder than you would think.
Oh yeah,
you'll be thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be so excited, I'm gonna be wide awake and everything, but no.
No.
It's
Yeah,
not gonna be.
I tried when I landed in Florida. So I landed a little before 7 a.m. And they're like, you gotta stay up.
No way, right?
Come maybe 12, 1 o'clock. I'm like dying on the couch. And I'm like, you guys go do something. I'm just gonna be here for a while.
そうだよね. So it was hard when you got to Florida. But how about like coming back to Japan? Was it as hard?
It wasn't quite as hard, but I still had jet lag for sure. I arrived in Japan very late at night.
Okay.
So I was able to just go to sleep. But I still had jet lag for maybe a day and a half.
そんなに長いフライトだったらそうだよね.
Because I don't know about you or everyone who's listening, but when you have a really long journey, there comes a point during the journey where you just have this feeling of, I just want to be done. I just want to be there. I don't want to take another bus. I don't want to take another train. I just want to be at the place.
Right.
Oh, like
本当ね、疲れるよ
and
ね。
there's always a limit to everyone, I feel like.
そう。どんなになんかね、興奮しててもやっぱり体はついてこないっていうのがあるからね。Yeah, I've been interested in asking you some reverse culture shock because you've been away from home for 2.5 years, so back in the States.
Yeah, and I did experience it for sure, and it's weird though because moments that I experienced it, my mind was conflicted because my mind was like, oh yeah, this is normal.
Right.
But at the same time, my mind was like, but I'm not really used to that anymore. So what's better? And, I mean, I did have a moment of reverse culture shock immediately when I landed in Los Angeles. I had to go to immigration, like I said, and the lines were crazy, and people didn't know where to go. Where does the line start? Which line is it? I'm a citizen. I'm not a citizen. Which one? And the employees like screaming, telling people where to go because they can't hear her otherwise. And we're like waiting in this line, and there were these two groups of people don't know each other, and they're screaming at each other. Like, you cut me in line. And he's like, I don't know where the line is. No, you didn't. They're just so loud, and I thought, wow.
Welcome back.
I was like, I've made it back to America, because this would never happen in Japan.
そうだよね。
Never.
そう。Reverse culture shock っていうのが逆カルチャーショックってことなんですけど、じゃあそれ was it LA you said?
LA airport.
LA
LAX.
エアポートで、lax.
Yeah, and it was not lax at all.
そう、すごい人がいっぱいいて、もう知らない人同士が叫び合ってると、cut me in line っていうのは、なんだっけ、何？Cut me in line. What is that in Japanese? なんだっけ
like 列に like
何出てこない。
飛んだれた Like I don't know.
There is a word for it. I'm just trying to come up with it now. 横切ったじゃなくてなんだっけ
？Like you cut me off. Like you
cut me in line.
Oh,
I know this word. なんだっけ Cut me in line. まあ列を
Well, you get the idea, right?
横切るというか順番飛ばすというか
You're second, but now you're third.
そう。それでまあ日本でもそういうことあるけど It does happen when people cut in line, but I don't
the
really
argument.
Say anything about it. I might kind of stare, like give that person a nasty look, but I wouldn't be shouting at her or him. I don't know why we don't do that.
Sure.
I think many people just don't want to have any arguments with strangers, and sometimes they do something dangerous.
Absolutely, because you don't know what that person is like or what they have, or because maybe just in your mind you think like, like.
ねえでも but like you said like in the States it's pretty normal
it's usually
snapping at people
oh yeah
completely snap まあちょっと切れるとかね結構あるよね
for sure
but you wouldn't be the type of person who would snap at it
probably not I mean only if I was at like a breaking point
な
And
かな
like,
かないでしょ、エヴァンは
but
ね。
no, I'm very bad at being angry.
That makes it so Japanese for some reason. 日本人っぽい。
But I've always been that way. I don't like
まあその人だよね。
confrontation.
ね、
conflict?
衝突が嫌だよね、人と
It's
ね。
just-
特に strangers っていうのはちょっと。Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't help. I mean, like, yeah, getting angry at them and then shouting at them. It just feels, you know, even worse. You do.
Yeah.
So, cut me a line. まだ日本語が出てこないですけど、そういうことですよね。So that was like the first culture shock.
Oh yeah, that
you
was immediate.
Yeah.
You know, and I was like, oh man,
As
here
soon
we
as you
go.
got to the States, it happens, right?
But,
そうだね。
But even just the atmosphere, like when I landed at LA and I had to, you know, get my luggage and check it back in, and I had to walk to the next terminal and just outside, the just environment felt very American. And it's hard to explain. It was just like the sounds,
The smell.
the smell. Oh, at least
Yeah.
in LA too, it kind of smelled like a little bit like something was burning because it's LA and they have so many wildfires out in California.
Is that why?
I think that's part of it. Is there's so many
そうなの？
wildfires in California.
まあ確かに。
like-
まあ独特の匂いはするよね。海外のエアポート。But I kind of like the smell. Not really LA maybe. I don't really like the smoky smell, but the perfume that people are wearing.
Sure, perfumes and colognes. And
ねえ、で日本もそんな匂わない気がするけど。
yeah, they say like, oh, sometimes if you wear perfume in Japan, it's
Yeah.
disrupting to people.
So-
It offends people.
So. Yeah, it's kind of off the topic, but it has been a problem here in Japan because people liked using the foreign softeners and detergent in Japan, and then I think for a while it was a trendy thing to do, but now people are more they say like なんだっけ
Like clean scents.
there is a word for it, something harassment, like the smell harassment or something like that, なんか
Like
匂いの
odor
harassment.
harassment or something.
So they don't wanna, you know, they might be happy with the stuff, but other people might be distracted by
Sure.
that. So there is a trend now that they don't want other people to smell what 結構難しいよね、スメル問題というか匂いの問題って。
And when I came to Japan, my company, they told me that.
Oh,
They said, don't wear cologne to school.
really?
You know, because
へー
probably a teacher will complain.
そうなんだ。
And I'm like, all right, duly noted.
Yeah, そう。だから maybe ね、だから I hear lots of people coming to Japan complain a lot about deodorant.
It's different.
そう。We don't have the
weaker.
choices of deodorant much.
Right.
ね。
I made sure to buy some more when I went back to America.
Yeah, I think that's what people say. 日本ってあんまりデオドラントを使わない人が多いので、それをなんか探すのが大変っていうのを聞いたことあるけど、But I kind of like the smell. Well, not everyone's smell, but I kind of like cologne or perfume I can smell at airport in other countries.
Sure.
Yeah. それは好き。
Yeah, it depends on the scent, but
そう。
but there are many lovely.
Lovely cologne.
perfumes
Yeah,
and colognes.
sometimes like I kind of want to follow them.
Yeah.
Kind of ask them like, what do you wear? Especially like a really nice looking like in a suit of
Oh,
man,
sure.
and then like in a business suit and everything.
Yeah.
And then he looks so professional and then smells so nice. And
Yeah.
I'm so curious about what kind of cologne people use.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you're walking around like a city area and then all of a sudden you're like,
Yeah.
なんかいい匂いする.
どこ
Like it
みたいな
smells like freshly baked bread or something. You're
Freshly
like,
baked bread.
and you're like, where's that bakery? Where's the bakery? It's like that feeling but with people. And
Yeah, I guess that's a good
at
way
least
to
for
put
me,
it,
it's
but
just like,
そんな感
oh,
じ
somebody smells really good. Who is it?
そう
Who is it? Da da da. Like,
Not too strong, it's just right
Just
amount
nice.
of yeah.
and plus, I believe smells are like they're much stronger when it comes to memory.
それ本当それ。
So
There's a very strong bond between that.
yeah,
Yes,
like if you
it
smell
will
something,
totally takes you back to.
absolutely.
ね、あれすごい不思議。匂いはね、本当に不思議。
眠りの鍵みたい。
何？
Like the key to your memories is a
そう
smell.
記憶の鍵という
It's
か、
like,
key to your memory.
And all of a sudden you remember when you were 6 years
そう
old
そうそう。
out in the fields with your dad.
そう
Like
そう。いや、本当面白いよね。その記憶とつながってる感じがね。だから airport, I like going to airports and I smelled some kimchi when I went to Korea and it's just so different place to place だけど それは好きかな。
For sure.
そっか、ちょっと話題がずれたけど。
ごめんね。
いやいや。
But そう、逆カルチャーショックね。
逆カルチャーショック。
I mean, of course, food portions.
Portion ね、その食事の量。
Now,
ドリンクポーションもね。
I will say, I am surprised every day that sometimes in Japan I will order food and I'm like, "Deka!" Like, because sometimes it's
sometimes
huge.
they look bigger than on the menu.
Yeah, and then you get it and you're like, I didn't realize you took the picture from 10 meters away. Like, what? This is gigantic.
遠近法みたいな。But what for, right? I mean, like, people will be happy to get more food than they expect. But yes, some people say that the Japanese restaurants, the portions are much smaller than, you know, like you would think. But でも、
It really
not
depends.
everywhere だよ
Not
ね。
at all.
結構大きいところもいっぱいあるし。
Yeah, like here, at least in Miyazaki, like when I went to like Ogura,
小倉
you know, I got
チキン
the
南蛮
chicken
の
namba, but it was huge. And I'm like,
そうね。
I'm so glad I didn't eat breakfast because I can eat this.
そう結構、なんかなんていうのかな very generous with the portions
Yes,
sometimes
yes.
and then so you are maybe like happily surprised most of the time but
Yeah, but yeah, in America though, usually the sizes are quite large, and also even like drinks. Like I went to Starbucks and I got the venti size, which is, you know, L size. I got an iced caramel macchiato, but I mean it's huge. It's 24 ounces, which I don't know what that is in liters.
Not sure either,
but it's huge.
Okay.
I mean, like,
That.
it's huge.
Okay.
I mean, I drink slow, so it takes me like all day. But
or two,
yeah. Put it in the fridge, wait for tomorrow. But it's just so much bigger a lot of times. And I know also like at Starbucks in America, if you get the short size, that's the kid's size.
Oh, really?
But in Japan, that's the small.
Yeah, that's what people usually get.
Yeah, that's a kid's size in America at Starbucks.
そうね。Do they usually finish everything? なんかいつも飲み切るのとか食べきるのとか Yeah, because like some of the food can be so large that is it because they want to share with the people they go to restaurants with とか思っちゃうんだけど What, do people usually finish that or do people just take it home whenever there's leftover?
That's a good question. It really depends on the person, I think, because
確かに
some of my friends are absolute animals and they can eat anything, any size, but a lot of people will eat maybe half, 3/4, and then take the rest home, which is not really... Yeah, 日本ではそんな文化はないね。
そう、we kind of feel guilty about leaving food on the table, and then it's not really, you know, I mean, like you should take, I mean, you cannot really take it home.
Right.
あんまりそんな持ち帰りってそんなさせてもらえなかったり maybe it's changing little by little because of the, you know, like we should not waste food っていう感じだけど、most of the time you're not allowed to, so that's why like we wanna finish it because we don't wanna make the chef feel bad.
Right, yeah.
もう申し訳ないなと思って and it's usually, you know, you can finish it if you really try.
Right.
でもアメリカはちょっと無理なレベルですよね。もう無理。
もうやっぱり日本ではそんなもんではあんまりないよ、僕は。
そう、
like 全部食べられないみたいな。
っていうのはないね。食べ放題とかだったらまた違う。That's a different story.
Yeah, totally different.
でもアメリカはちょっと度が過ぎてるよねって感じ。でもね、私が大好きなチーズケーキファクトリーに行ってましたよね。Cheesecake Factory is a restaurant. Can you explain what it is for people who don't know?
And with, you know, so Cheesecake Factory, first of all, it's not actually a factory. You know, 本当に工場ではないです。
工場じゃないね。
But I think they call it factory because their menu is so large. Both regular food and cheesecakes.
The cheesecake.
And the menu is like actually a book. And
そう。
it's just fantastic American food, but they do have some foods that are maybe kind of like fusion style, or like the lunch I had was a miso salmon.
そう、結構日本食も入って和食もねあるよね。
And I was able to eat all the lunch, even though, you know, it's still pretty big, in my opinion at least. But yeah, the cheesecakes, first of all, one slice, I guarantee you, if you don't think one slice is enough, you're wrong. Because the slices are humongous.
Humongous.
And
Yeah.
I mean, I would eat the slice with another person and maybe refinish it.
そう本当チーズケーキファクトリーっていうのはすごい有名なあれチェーンのレストランで、
Yes.
いろんなところまあ大きな街にはあるよね。Yeah, big cities they have, and then every time I get to the States, every time I make sure that's one of my
You have to go.
destinations って感じで絶対行くんだけど行くところ。So I've been to the one in New York, Las Vegas, San Francisco とかいろいろ行ってるんですけど、もう本当にThe atmosphere is great. I
That's
think,
nice, yeah.
It's for families and then friends, and then they can just choose dishes from wide selections. But of course, as the name says, the cheesecake is there. ね、だから本当一番のなんかもうシグネチャー。もうチーズケーキファクトリーも名前が言ってるからね。
Yeah, and
でも普通のご飯もすごい美味しい。
Oh yeah, and plus too, like I know, like in Japan, it's very normal to have like a display case with.You know, the plastic food models, so you know what it is. In America, that's not common, but at Cheesecake Factory, they do have the display case of cheesecakes, but they're the real cakes, like when you go to a bakery. So you can at least see those at first.
Yeah, what they like.
And then you can, you can see what looks like, you know, you're willing to get diabetes for.
そう、糖尿病になっちゃうレベル。もう本当に最初食べたいんだけどそこまで行き着かないんだよね。And then like, if you finish your food and then you will not get to the dessert part unless you make sure that you actually have enough space for it.
Yeah.
別腹レベルではない。
But if you want, it's totally fine to eat your lunch or dinner and then get the cheesecake to go. It's totally fine.
その方が私は大体そうするんだけど、そう。I get something to eat and then.Although I would love to eat the cheesecake right after my dinner or lunch or whatever, でも絶対入らないので、and then so I just take it to go お持ち帰りにしてもらって、and I still cannot eat when I get to the hotel.
Oh, no, not at all.
もうそれを夢見ながら朝食べるのがすごい至福で、but it's more than just a breakfast. 多分 breakfast and lunch ぐらいはいけそうな勢いのボリュームがね。あるけど but you should never miss that when you go to the States. 絶対に食べないと you're missing out.
Yeah, and plus on the menu, like, you know, I read like the calories.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, calorie monster, right?
カロリーモンスターどころじゃないよ、本当。
But I mean, I like the cheesecake. My favorite one, if you ever go to the Cheesecake Factory, my favorite cheesecake there is the Godiva chocolate cheesecake.
ゴディバですよ。ゴディバのチーズケーキ美味しくないはずがないでしょ。I don't know which one I tried. I just don't remember.
But there's so many.
There's so many choices that you want to try every single one of them, but you cannot.
Yeah.
You cannot try everything.
Yeah.
Even maybe you can go with your friend and maybe you can pick a different one and share.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, でも本当にね、あれは濃厚、
Mm-hmm.
濃厚
It's
の
extremely rich.
リッチだよね。
And I mean, I mean, at the Cheesecake Factory, when it comes to cheesecake, you know, the world is your oyster.
World is your oyster.
Or I guess I should say the world is your cheesecake.
World is your cheesecake.
Because it is just divine.
Divine, for sure. もう本当ね、チーズケーキファクトリーは皆さんにおすすめしたいところなので、行ったことない人は、なんで日本に来ないのかなっていつも思うんですけど、東京にありそうな感覚ないと思うので。
そうね、多分成功になるでしょう。
絶対成功すると思うけど、But I kind of wanna, you know, I don't want them to be in Japan because it's not gonna be as special when I get there. なんかもったいないので、旅行した時の楽しみっていう感じで撮っておきたいかなっていう感じもするんですけど。Yeah, I can never stop talking about Cheesecake Factory.
I don't blame you. It's amazing. But yeah, on the subject of food though, I did kind of forget how much variety is available in America when it comes to types of food. Yeah, I mean, I kind of missed that, and there's, I guess, a sort of reverse culture shock. Is especially like because here it's not quite, you know, it's not Tokyo, it's not Osaka, so you're not going to have as many international choices.
Limited choices.
You know, even places that aren't big cities in America, you can still find easily Chinese food, Mexican food, you know, American food, Greek food, Thai food, Vietnamese food, Japanese food.
That.
It's, it's fantastic. So I made sure to have plenty of Mexican food because I love Mexican
Mexican food is
like
just
lots
wonderful.
of tacos and burritos. Oh, that's my jam. That is my jam. So good.
そうだよね。メキシカンフードもないもんね、あんまり本当。こっちはね、東京の方はあるかもしれないけど、こっちは特にないので、そういうのはすごいね、大事。
For all of you people out there that like fast food, Taco Bell is probably my number one, and they have it in Japan, in like Osaka and Tokyo.
Probably.
But I hear it's more expensive.
Oh yeah.
Actually,
Taco Bell is quite reasonable, ね。
It's very cheap in America. It's like they have like $1 menu stuff, $2 menu stuff, and you can get, and they're usually open.
What do you usually get there?
I mean, if I'm feeling cheap,
Yeah.
I will usually get the spicy potato soft taco, or in like the bean burrito. And those are $1 each.
安い、1ドルぐらいなんだ。
But if I'm feeling a little bougie,
ちょっとブージーな気分の時は。
then maybe I'll get like a chalupa, which is like the taco shell is this almost like a flatbread, like naan mitai, and it's just nicer. It's just a nicer taco with like the nicer beef, you know, the lettuce, cheese, tomatoes, sour cream, and sometimes they even have like the really nice one where there's like a hard shell taco, and then there's like a cheese sauce on the outside, and then the soft shell naan mitai around that.
なんかレイヤーみたいになってんのかな。
And it's super good. Or the Crunchwrap Supreme, excellent.
Wow. I have been to Taco Bell, but it's been a long time ago, so maybe I would love to try again.
Oh, it's so good.
なかなかね。
Probably not good for you, but
Maybe not.
体に
悪いよね。
悪そうけど。
悪いけど美味しいから仕方ないよね。そっか。See, we end up talking about food again.
But right, that's right. 僕の悪いね。
いやいや、食べの話になっちゃうよね。
I guess at least, you know, 現在の逆のカルチャーショックは。
なんて？
現在の
逆カルチャーシ
ョックは、みんなのほとんどはマスク
してない
ですね。
もう全然違うらしいね。
Absolutely different.
もうほとんどしてない。
そう。
How about like alcohol, like disinfectant at the entrance of the buildings?
Some places had it, but most didn't.
そうなんだ。
And I know everywhere they say, we recommend you wear a mask, but nobody tells you wear a mask. I mean, they used to, and it was a huge problem in America.
But they still have patients.
Yes, and Corona is not gone by any means in America. But I think people are treating it, like people's attitude toward it is more like a regular sickness.
Yeah. 普通の風邪みたいになってしまってて、多分 they don't really count anymore, right? The people.
I think they do, but it's not really big news anymore, unless it maybe fluctuates big time. But yeah, now it's I think generally the attitude is not will we get rid of
but
COVID,
kind of live with COVID.
How do we live with it is basically.
Yeah, I think Japan is catching up that trend.
Yeah,
much slower level, but slower pace だけど、多分 worldwide そんな感じになってはくるのかなって感じますね。
And you know, like I don't mind wearing a mask, but of course I'd prefer not to.
Yeah,
you know.
そうね。そっかそっか。
But I think a lot of women are kind of happy, right? Because they don't have to do makeup.
Yeah, I can totally agree with that. Yes. Then people have kind of like been wearing masks for the last 2 years or almost 3 years now. Yeah, that they kind of feel shy about taking off the mask.
Sure. I mean, there are people that I've known for a few years now that I don't even know what their real face looks like. Which is so strange to me.
そうね、不思議なことになってしまってね。ではまた、going back to how it was like before COVID. So, but that's a good sign, I guess. We've been talking for like 40 plus minutes, so we should just finish for now and then we'll take part 2.
Yeah.
まだまだお話あるので、まだまだ時間もあるので今日は。
Just like at the end of every JoJo episode, they have a to be continued.
So, to be continued にしましょう。じゃあまた続きます。
はい。